Two sides harbouring ambitions of a top 4 Premier League finish lock horns at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday evening, tomorrow evening, as Arsenal play host to West Ham. Arsenal saw off Southampton 3-0 at the weekend, whereas David Moyes' side were held to a goalless stalemate by Burnley. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton. I'm joined by Matt Stato. How you feeling, mate? Arsenal?
I'm going to go. I'll feel confident because you always moan me. I was so confident.
I was just going to say there was a delayed reaction. I was like, is there some delayed reaction kicking about, or were you just lost for words there for a second?
I was just trying to think of it. I was like, no, because I was about to say, I don't know, but you know what? You made it last time, so I'll be positive.
I'm on at you every single bloody week, mate, and we're in the top 4, last 16 in the Europa League, quarterfinals of the League Cup, FA Cup still to come, and every week I speak to you and you're like, and I'm like, what's going on, mate? What's going on?
So I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, before we do move on, and of course talk about the away fan, some news that came out yesterday evening from young Isla and her family. Unfortunately, she is looking like she's going to be losing her battle with cancer, and the family are now just trying to raise as much money as they possibly can to try and give her the best special memories they possibly can do. So I'm asking you, if you can, we've done a lot of fundraising for Isla before, and I'm going to put a link in the chat. And if you can just click that link and go and donate whatever you can, £1, £2, £3, £4, whatever you can do, please go ahead and donate to the cause and give Isla as many special memories as she can have, and fingers crossed there can be a miracle that can happen in the next couple of weeks. Wishing her and the family all the best, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a miracle does happen. But please, I'm going to reiterate it, please click that link and try your best to give anything, because anything does, and hopefully will help towards the situation, of course. So we will keep putting that comment up as we go along, and we wish them all the best, of course, moving forward. Anyway, Matt, let's go and talk about the opposition. Let's talk Arsenal. Please, everyone, welcome Tom from the Gunner Talk TV. Tom, how you doing, mate? You well?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Thank you very much. Yourselves?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming back on. It's been a while since you've been on. Things have changed. We had a chat beforehand telling you about the channel. Things have all been, as you can imagine. So, I appreciate you spending the time to come on and talk to us. I mean, listen, Tom, there's no point in me and Matt sitting here trying our best to judge your team, considering you watch them week in and week out. But I'm just going to go straight in for the killer here. Big news coming out from you today. News coming out from you today.
No, nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, of course, the news coming out of you today is you've stripped your captain of his captaincy armband, and Aubameyang isn't going to be up for selection tomorrow. I mean, what's happened here?
Yeah, look, it's a funny old game, this football. Look, Aubameyang, it's not the first time he's been in this situation. The first time this happened was the North London derby last season at the Emirates. He arrived late on match day, which, I mean, as club captain on any day is bad. But for the North London derby to arrive late is pretty bad, especially as club captain, as I say. And he was dropped for that game. He sat on the bench. He was an unused substitute during the game. And what's happened this time is effectively he was allowed permission to travel abroad to see his mother, who's not been very well, and she's got a history of illness as well, and he regularly travels to see her. But he arrived back late, later than was basically agreed. And I mean, typically maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago it wouldn't be an issue, but because of the way the world is right now, it kind of conflicted with quite a few regulations that are now in place, and so the decision has been taken to strip him of the captaincy. And from my perspective, I don't really have any kind of opposition to the decision that's been taken. I struggle to come up with an argument against this other than kind of any kind of disruption it may have on the team right now. But he's a club captain, and I mean, Paul Merson summed it up pretty well. Like, it's an honour to be the Arsenal club captain, and he's not taking it, with the utmost kind of pride, I suppose is a good word to use it. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, big news, Matt. Over to you.
I was going to say, I saw an article earlier, and I thought I'd ask you the same question. Is the Arsenal captaincy cursed? Because like, your last 2 club captains have both been stripped of the captaincy.
He's not
Aubameyang before that.
William Gallas also as well was stripped of it. So there you go. It's pretty poor, isn't it?
I think on what Matt's saying, I think has it been since 2007? I've seen a stat coming out, and I think it started with William Gallas, who of course signed for Spurs, and then it starts working its way down. Players,
Fabregas, Van Persie,
it just seems to be a position of I don't know what's going on. Like it's a bit wild. But do you know what? Like Aubameyang, I mean, what a player! I mean, I don't know how many goals he's actually got in his career at Arsenal. But in terms of footballing ability, we all know what he is capable of doing. However, when I do hear a lot of Arsenal fans talking about him in particular, is there games that he goes missing? Is there games that he just doesn't turn up in, apart from physically not turning up to training and not turning up to the game itself,
Yeah, I think with Aubameyang, you've got a player that obviously we know is a top finisher. I think he ranks in the top 10 for goals in the previous decade. So, I mean, you've got to be a hell of a striker to be in that bracket. But the thing is that for Arsenal fans, we obviously saw him sign a bumper deal at the end of the 2020 window for a figure which is believed to be in the region of £300,000 per week. And since that point, he's just not been able to reimagine that same form that he had prior to that contract. And with the benefit of hindsight, there's quite a lot of parallels drawn to the contract we gave to Mesut Ozil at £300,000 per week. And obviously we saw the decline of him after that. So there is similarities. But yeah, you're right. He's an elite striker on his day, but he's got 4 goals in the Premier League, I think, this season, which is just, for a team that want to get top 4, it's not enough from your striker.
I've just been looking at it, 68 goals in his career at Arsenal with 16 assists. But as your club captain, it doesn't matter who you are and what you are. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're not setting an example, really, are you? So really, the question I'm asking then is, you mentioned it briefly, can that have an impact on your season? Like, could this, considering where you started the season, which wasn't so great, to where you have picked up, and is the timing all wrong as an Arsenal fan and for Arteta and the team?
I don't actually think it will have an impact at all, to be honest, because I mean, this was kind of bubbling away before the Southampton game, and we dealt with that game, bar the first 10-15 minutes very well, and we obviously kind of easily pushed Southampton aside. But the rhetoric this season hasn't been really around Aubameyang and the team. It's more been around kind of Arteta and whether or not he is the right manager to take Arsenal forwards. And I think that the majority now pretty much stands on the side of that he is not going to take Arsenal back to where we want to see them be, even with a long-term project, and that there's kind of a diminishing minority of people that would want to see him stay. There's still a fair amount of people on the fence about him, but I think the majority are now certainly people that would happily see Arteta moved on, because he's not being able to implement a style. He makes some baffling in-game management decisions, and selection-wise, he's not very consistent. And I mean, even with this Aubameyang thing, there hasn't been a level of consistency in the past, because Willian previously went away, came back, broke regulations relating to the pandemic, and then was in the next lineup. So there is some inconsistencies, and I think that for a fair few people now, it's a case of we'd rather see a change in the coach.
Yeah. Oh, so is that kind of change in the coach still the kind of forefront of Arsenal fans then?
The discussions, it's usually around Arteta. I'm trying to think how many of the last thumbnails have got Arteta on my channel. It's a fair few.
So who's at the front of fans' thoughts then? Like the fans must have like a pool of who they want to replace it.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Ten Hag comes up a lot in discussions. He's one. People talk about Zinedine Zidane as another one. I don't know why either would come to Arsenal right now. And that's the biggest thing for me, and probably the biggest reason why I'm still so on the fence, because I don't know who you get. at Arsenal. I don't know who takes over. I mean, people have gone to the point of saying we should be looking to get Patrick Vieira in, and I'm not sure that's the right style of coach that I'd want. I think I'd want someone with pedigree, someone with experience, someone that's, got history of improving the teams that they're at.
What about someone like a Graham Potter?
Yeah, he's another name that comes up. And I think that he's someone at Brighton that's turned Brighton into a side that create a hell of a lot of chances. Got no one who can put them away. Yeah. And the thing about Arsenal right now is they're a side that they're not creating lots of chances. And annoyingly, we haven't got too many people that can put those chances away either. It's actually quite surprising that we can even go above you guys with a win. That genuinely shocks me.
Well, that actually, I'm not even going to, it's not even about being, this new West Ham mindset, but it actually shocks me considering where you were at the start of the season, how it wasn't so great, but you have picked up form and you have bounced back. A quick one here from Irish Tommy. Arteta doesn't have to bring the glory days back to Arsenal. He just has to get them along the road to a certain distance. Is there mindset in that?
Yeah, there is definitely, and I think Tommy's got a solid point. I think that the issue for a lot of fans is that you look at the last 2 seasons, back-to-back 8th place finishes in the table. This year is going to be pivotal. A lot of people think that top 6 is kind of the minimum expectation for this year to get back into European football, and if he doesn't achieve that, that's then 3 league finishes outside of European football. Obviously, the FA Cup 2 seasons ago got us back into the Europa League, but people want to see progression in the league table. And if he's not achieving that, then there's nothing to tangibly kind of, get behind to evidence and say we are moving forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get back onto the game. Arsenal have won 10 of the last 11 home league games against West Ham, losing the other 2-0 in August 2015. I mean, that's a stat that we, I remember, the last ever game, the last team to beat Arsenal at the Emirates, Highbury was West Ham, and the first team to beat Arsenal at the Emirates was West Ham. But since then, but since then,
it's not been good reading.
Yeah, since then it's not been so great reading, to be honest. But last time out, I'm going to bring up the team that you've put out. I think it was against Southampton. This was your kind of starting lineup. I mean, Ramsdale, I want to talk to you a bit about Ramsdale. I mean, when you were linked to him and potentially bringing him in, what was your genuine thoughts? Because I think the whole world was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, my reaction was, why are we spending £24 million on a backup goalkeeper? It wasn't specifically looking at him individually and kind of misconstruing him and the goalkeeper that he is. It was more so about, well, we've got Bernd Leno at the club. Like, if we're bringing in a goalkeeper, it's going to be to back him up. And, Runarsson had come in the season prior and had been dreadful whenever he'd play. So we needed a backup keeper. And it was a baffling situation where we go out and spend 24 million rising to 30 million pounds. But he's been absolutely unbelievably good. I think he's the third. I think he ranks this season as the third best goalkeeper in the league behind Ederson and Alisson. He's, eclipsed Emi Martinez, which was obviously a big talking point last season when we sold Martinez to Villa, and he was outperforming Bernd Leno. But now we've managed to bring in a goalkeeper in Ramsdale that's outperforming him. So he's been brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Another stat to read is Lacazette has scored 5 Premier League goals against West Ham, netting in each of his last 3 appearances against us. A player that we were very close to signing. We should probably speak about him every time we play against Arsenal. But again, another player that's potentially linked away from the club. I mean, is his career up and down at the club? I mean, what's he playing like under Arteta? And is he a genuine threat this season and against West Ham tomorrow?
I think if you send the ball into the box with Lacazette, he's one of the best finishers in the league. The issue is that his positioning is so all over the place at the moment. People talking about as a link-up striker, and he is that, but he drops far, far too deep. He had more touches in the right-back position against Southampton in the box, which kind of tells you where he is positionally on the pitch. He's got 6 months left on his contract come January. He is going to leave. There's no hint that he's going to sign an extension at the club. And I think that the Arsenal fans are very much, on board with the idea of bringing in a striker. There's a fair few names that we've been linked to, Calvert-Lewin being one, Alexander Isak at Real Sociedad, and that Dusan Vlahovic at Fiorentina. But I think that if you send the ball to him in the box and you give him a bit of space, he will finish. And he is a very lethal striker, but he's not been playing all that much because of Aubameyang's presence, but that is no longer an issue. So, yeah.
I want to talk to you about your defence so far this season. You've conceded 22 goals, but it is a kind of pretty much a whole new back line. players that, a player that I followed because we've been linked to him for a long time before you signed him was Tomiyasu. I actually think I was desperate for West Ham to go forward for this guy. I don't know. I'd like to hear your kind of brief thoughts on him. Of course, you've brought in White from Brighton, spent a lot of money on him as well. You've got Tierney, of course, at the left back position. You've got Ramsdale. Defensively, how are you fixed for the season and the game for tomorrow?
Yeah, on Tomiyasu, he's been brilliant. So I can see why you were desperate to sign him, because he's been arguably alongside Ramsdale probably the best signing of the bunch. Thinking we had Hector Bellerin last season, he's upgraded that position a ridiculously amount. And I think with the defence, that was always the area that people kind of referenced. Arteta had improved us defensively, because if you think back to Arsenal of the last half decade, strewn with errors, Mustafi, Socrates, these names come to light, have made huge errors at the back. But Ben White, Gabriel, obviously, it came in last summer in 2020, has been fantastic. Ramsdale has made things a lot solid. But prior to Southampton, we conceded 9 in the last 4, which kind of did show that there was some cracks starting to show in the defence. And especially against a side like yourselves that have got plenty of attacking potential, there is holes, there are gaps, there are things to exploit. So it's tricky to kind of measure where Arsenal are going to be at defensively, because they obviously kept a clean sheet on the weekend, but we conceded 4 against Liverpool, 2 against Everton in a game that was absolutely dire, 3 against Manchester United in a game we practically gave to them in the end. And we obviously conceded 9 goals in the first 3 games and didn't score any. So it's a crazy season and unpredictable. If only there was a way that you could watch it back through some streaming service at the end of the season. If only there was something we could watch it back. Yeah.
Oh, we're looking forward to it, because it's the year where years are filmed by All or Nothing, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be. We'll see how that pans out. We'll see if it.
They must be rubbing their hands together with this season. I tell you.
Is it going to be a curse, or is it going to be a successful season? David Moyes was talking about Arteta today, and he said that he's surprised that he doesn't get a lot more plaudits than what he's had. He's had an FA Cup, a Charity Shield. He's a young, up and coming manager, but I know a lot of fans aren't, in favour of the situation going on there. But going back now to the Southampton game, this was the lineup you guys put out. What, if at all, any changes could we see for the game tomorrow evening against West Ham?
The changes that will be made are likely be through rotation, because it's a midweek fixture and we're getting through to that Christmas period. But to be honest, I only see 2 changes being made. One will be Martinelli dropping out of the side for Smith Rowe, and the other one may be Tierney for Nuno Tavares, who's been very good as well in his stead. So I would only predict 2 changes, if that. Yeah. And to be honest, I think a lot of fans would be a bit gutted to see Martinelli drop out of the side, because he's been absolutely brilliant since coming in. So they're the only 2. I imagine it'll be the same other than that. But yeah, Martinelli and Tierney possibly the only 2 that I would see being changed. Yeah.
What do you say to that, Matt?
I'd be surprised about Martinelli, because he's actually looked in recent games like one of the players who's going to do something for you.
Yeah.
I think Saka and Smith Rowe have looked a little bit leggy recently. Like they've been relied on too much as 2 of the young kids that are up and coming. And then Martinelli obviously got himself a bit of reputation a couple of years back, and he had a couple of bad injuries, but he looks direct, he looks quick, something we struggle against. So I'd be quite happy to not see him started on the pitch tomorrow. But if I was Arteta, I'd definitely look at him being one to definitely start, because the impact of the form he's sort of carrying at the moment.
And I think that's one of the things that we Arsenal fans have got frustrated with Arteta, is that he makes some decisions that fans don't agree with. I, like you, Matt, would start Martinelli, because I think he's such a threat. But again, we go back to Arteta. He seems to make some of these choices that fans can't really get behind, like seeing Xhaka and Partey both start. Lokonga has been our best centre midfielder this season, and he's not started any of the last 3 games, and that's a real concern.
Before we go into your predictions, etc., let's go and take a look and see what happened the last time out the 2 clubs met in the Premier League. remember watching the game live, Matt. I think you were on with me. I think we were all probably watching it. And as West Ham fans, we were in absolutely cuckoo land. We didn't have a clue what was going on. I think, was it half-time we were up 3-0? Was it something? Yeah. And then, to just feel... someone had said to me recently, what was your most deflating game? One of the most deflating games, and it probably would have been that game for us because we came off such a good run of games and victories and came up against you guys when we were kind of not expecting it to go up that far, But it was ended in a draw. So a couple of last questions before we ask your predictions. What's your opinion on West Ham this season? And how are you feeling? And how do you think Arteta's looking at the game tomorrow night against the West Ham that we're seeing nowadays?
I genuinely have so much respect for the team building of West Ham. And I think actually the last time I was on with you guys, I think one of the topics I remember talking about was your recruitment. I think it was the season that you signed Jarrod Bowen. And I remember mentioning, this is the route that West Ham need to go down. Is stop with all the silly signings of the past and actually try and be a bit more sensible and sign players that are going to, progress certain positions in your team, that are going to be a little bit more savvy with the way in which you recruit. And that's what you've done. And I think it's been a brilliant way in which you've seen a side go from, battling to stay in the Premier League or just, trapped in the midst of mid-table to a side that have now genuine Champions League qualification ambitions. And it's a message to Arsenal in a way, because Arsenal for a long time have been a side that have made silly decisions in the market. And in the last summer, they made some sensible ones, and hopefully we're seeing some progression. So there's a lot of similarities in the recruitment, I think, now between the two clubs, and that's a credit to you guys. But yeah, it's been a frustration to watch you do so well for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, it's I only have respect for what's been going on, of course.
At least we can sit back and both enjoy looking at Tottenham. So.
Of course, there is always that.
We share something. We share something. Antonio's for West Ham has been directly involved in 11 goals in his last 11 Premier League London derbies, 5 goals and 6 assists. He does love a London derby, but he's not been firing on all cylinders. I'm giving you that stat, but going to ask you the question: if you had to choose a player you fear the most from West Ham, who would it be?
See, I could either go tactical and think who's going to be really good up against our left flank, your right, because Tierney does like to venture, and that would leave spaces in behind. So I imagine Bowen playing on that. I imagine he would be the one that starts on the right-hand side, that would have a lot of joy there, as Tierney does bomb forwards. But I'm concerned about our midfield at the moment. Partey and Xhaka aren't playing too well. Lukonga's not playing. So Declan Rice, as always, is someone who progresses the ball really well and is a fantastic passer and is physical, but alongside Soucek as well, is a brilliant midfielder in himself. So those two are the ones that I would certainly look to. And are probably the ones, if I was to sign one, it would be one of those two. So yeah, or to be fair, definitely Rice. Still definitely would be Rice.
Yeah, no, he's phenomenal. He's this season in particular, he seems to be grabbing the ball and just carrying the team forward as one single unit. He is next level. He's unbelievable. Right, so Tom, it gets to that nitty-gritty time. We're going to ask you for your predictions for tomorrow's game. And yeah, let's see what you're going to say.
I've said optimistically on my channel 2-1 to the Gunners. I think that if this was at your ground, I would be far less optimistic. But the Emirates has been a bit of a fortress this season. I think we have the highest point collection of any team at home. So the Emirates has been very good for us, although the opponents we have played are definitely probably do feed into that. It's a huge test. I don't think the Aubameyang thing will impact us that much. And I'm hoping that the Southampton game has built up some momentum. So I'm going to go 2-1. Lacazette to get one in there, and maybe Martinelli as well, just to rub a few salt in the wounds.
So who's the one? The last question I've got to you is who's the one Arsenal player that we should fear for tomorrow's game?
Right now, it's Martin Ødegaard. He's scored 3 in 3, and he's on quite a bit of good form right now. And creatively, he's definitely stepping up his game. He should have had 2 assists against Southampton if it weren't for some poor shots by Saka and Lacazette. He is the player to watch at Arsenal. There's rumours that he could even be the person that takes on the captaincy after Aubameyang moved on, which is interesting considering obviously only joins, but he is the captain of Norway, so he's got that pedigree. So yeah, you need to be looking out for him right now.
Excellent. Matt, any last questions then for Tom?
Do you think Arteta is going to stay out the season?
There you go.
Yes, I do. Only because this club just don't make rash decisions. They just don't. Not because he should stay, just I don't think the club will move him on.
There you go. There you go. Listen, Tom, mate, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been
No
an
worries,
absolute
boys.
pleasure. And hopefully we'll have you back on for one of the fixtures coming up soon.
Absolutely.
And all the best after tomorrow's game, of course.
Of course. Likewise. As long as you're above Spurs and you're not above us, it's all good. Have a good one, lads. Pleasure.
Take it easy, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one.
Later,
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate.
Cool, man. Really great guest. Really great. I hope you all enjoyed that. Really good insight. Gave us good knowledge. And yeah, clear as a day with his microphone. He puts us to shame with his microphone. It was crystal clear. Crystal clear. And there you go. Comments are coming in saying, cheers, Tom. Good luck against Spuds. Right. It is about time we sit here and talk to you about our beloved West Ham. Just want to bring to your attention again, though, before we do talk about West Ham, the news that I brought to you earlier today, this morning, just as the show started, about young Isla Caton. Obviously, it's not been great news for her or the family, and what we're trying to do is raise enough money to give them as many good memories as they possibly can. There is the link. It is starred. I will put that in the comments again for anyone who is struggling to get access to it. And then you can just click that link and you can go and donate anything you possibly can to give her a helping hand. I mean, just before we came on air, I noticed that Declan Rice has been getting involved. Mark Noble, Robert Snodgrass, Vladimir Sufal, you name it. Everyone is getting involved and trying to give her the best, whatever it's going to be for her. So please do help her out as much as you can. Anything would do. Anything would do. So Matt, let's get on to West Ham and we'll go and have a little look and listen to see what Mr. David Moyes had to say. So earlier on today, what's his name? What is his name? Stell did the press conference, of course. I never had a chance to do it, so Stell thankfully did it for us all today. So he spoke a lot about the Aubameyang situation and Arsenal as well, but he also spoke about this, which was a big feat that he's going to be facing. Tomorrow means he is going to be managing 600 games in the Premier League. He's managed 1,000 football games, but in the Premier League, he's going to manage 600 games. So he says, first of all, thanks. I didn't know that today. It just shows you're doing a far better job than my PR people here. It's a big thing, 600 games in the Premier League. It's a fair achievement, and the names are well known and successful as manager. So I can hope to continue trying to be successful at whatever level we are at. He then moves on to the big news, which is team news. I think we've got people who've got injuries. We're hoping Crezy's got a chance, and we're pushing hard for him to be ready for the game. At the moment, we have no COVID in the camp, but we don't feel that we're any different to any other football club in that could happen to us. It's a real tough shift to play 3 games in 6 days. It's not easy. Overall, we're trying to prepare our players and do everything correct in and around the football club. We're hoping that we can keep everyone fit and healthy. As I said before, if I was a fan, I would want to sit next to someone who is double vaccinated. So what's your thoughts then on what he's saying about Crezy and the fact that he actually says, I think we have, let me see here, I think we've got people who've got injuries.
I think Creswell's going to be fit. He's certainly going to have a late fitness test by the sounds of it. And they're trying to give him as long as possible to make it. Injuries, much be fatigue. We are at this period, like we said, like Tom said, we're at this period of the season now where you may start seeing managers rotate a lot, even in the Premier League games, because it's a hectic period of time.
Yeah.
You need to get through past the 1st of January to then have a bit of a break, go back to like 1 game a week. I think we've got tomorrow, Saturday, Wednesday again.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, I think it's we're going to come on to the team selection in a minute, but I don't know if he's hinting at potentially some changes to be made to the team, but we'll talk about that as we move along. The kind of other main point I want to talk to you about is Antonio, because he does go on to Antonio. He said he's been amazing for us since we put him as centre forward. He's been unbelievable, and with the run of goals he was on, when you become a number 9, you go through phases when you can't score, and the secret's to keep going. When his form's good, I think the team plays much better. His all-round form is really important to how we play, but I've seen signs it's just beginning to click a little with him again, so hopefully we're not too far away. Is that his signature to say Antonio's playing tomorrow?
Oh, definitely. There's no way he won't start him.
Yeah.
I think when he's on form, no team likes defending against him.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the Burnley game as it worked, but obviously the Chelsea game before, the second half, when Bowen went up front with him, he actually played up front. He looked like he was getting back to his old self. So
yeah,
Moyes is trying to play him into form again.
I don't think there was ever a doubt really that he was gonna and is gonna play tomorrow. So it does bring us to the interesting time, which we do enjoy doing, which is building our West Ham side. So I'm going to ask you in the chat, if you are watching, to please click and put in the comments your starting 11 you would like to see for tomorrow evening. So I'm just going to get the screen up for you now and try and get as close as I can up. We are working on getting this to be a bit more presentable, a little bit neater, and you should be able to enjoy what we are doing. But here it is for the playing eye to see. So let's start building the team. So the first question I'll ask everyone is, as I do every single week, Areola or Fabianski? I don't see any reason why Fabianski should be dropped. Do you agree or disagree with me, Matt?
If still start Fabianski.
Yeah, so there's no point.
So I didn't see the game at the weekend, but we had a clean sheet, so
yeah, absolutely.
I guess in that logic alone, you can't really drop the goalkeeper.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a positive thing. No, getting a clean sheet is definitely a good thing, but people will say it is against Burnley, who are struggling to score goals, of course, as well. Right, listen, what I'll do is I'll show everyone the team we put out the last time out. So there it is there. We had Fabianski in goal. We had Masuaku at left, Diop, Dawson and Soufal, Souček and Rice, protecting Benrahma out in the left, Lanzini in the middle, Bowen on the right, and Antonio up top. So are we going to be sticking with the same formation?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say yes as well. Now, is Krezi going to be fit enough to make the game? I mean, it looks like he's going to face a light fitness test. I mean, I certainly didn't think he would be out this long after the injury he picked up. I know it looked like, when he back curled round that post, but do you think, I mean, he was back in light training the day before the Europa League game. So fingers crossed he's there or thereabouts. What do you think?
He sounds more confident for tomorrow than he has for the previous game, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'll put him in left back as well, mate. Let's just confirm that. Now, other news coming out of the club is that Ben Johnson could be available sooner rather than later, and could actually be available for the Norwich game. However, on the basis of the fact that he isn't available, we will take him out, and I take it at right back. We're just going to stick with Vladimir Soufal.
No one else fit, is there? Right.
No, absolutely not. Well, we've got the young ones, but I don't think we're going to see any of the young defenders tomorrow, to be honest, because we're about to move in to the central defensive pairing, and I'm trying to find the two of them
as well.
Yeah, picks itself as at the moment. I mean, to be fair to them, I mean, I think they both done a reasonable job, to be honest. And there was nothing, they never done anything wrong, in my opinion. So I think that picks, like you said, it picks itself. Let's jump into the comments and see what people are saying before I move into it. It's when Antonio stops worrying about scoring goals is when he'll start scoring goals. Man City's winning 6-0. Mark Alexander's given his team Fab, Crest, Diop, Dawson, Soufal. I'll talk about the rest in a minute. GP is talking about Fab, Johnson. Johnson's not fit, lads, so he can't play. Dawson, Diop, and Krez. Formation depends on Creswell. I don't want to jinx anyone. Is anyone be surprised by Fab hasn't hurt himself in the warm-up yet? Paul Evans is saying it's a 6-pointer. Antonio back on fire tomorrow night. Sharky is saying Fabianski, Creswell, Diop, Dawson, Soufal. I prefer Johnson to Soufal against Arsenal, but he's not going to be fit, so he won't be able to play, of course. Right, let's move into the midfield. I mean, there's no point in us beating about the bush, really. He never picked up the injury. Moyes wasn't tactical against Burnley like you thought he was, Matt. He didn't get the card, so he is available, and they are both going to be starting in the middle of the park. Agreed?
Definitely.
Right, cool. Now, this is where we get to the nitty-gritty, in my humble and honest opinion. This was the team we put out against Burnley. Now, I have already said we're making one change, which is going to be Masuaku. Now, is that harsh on Masuaku, considering he did have a good game against Burnley, or are we respecting the opponent?
Both.
Both?
I saw the stats from the game. It looked like we had... They didn't threaten too much going forward, Burnley. So, in that sense, much like the Europa League game, when Masuaku's just going forward, he's got lots to do, but he's not going to get that away at Arsenal. He will have to defend at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you're playing a back five, and he's left that back five, I don't think he works in a defensive 4-4-2. An attacking one, yes. A defensive one, no.
There you go then. There you go. Your decision has been made. And I think as long as... So really the only other option is if Creswell isn't fit, we're just swapping him with Masuaku, and he's going to stick with the back four?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay.
That will be one of them two, but Creswell will be first choice.
Yeah, of course. Right, let's move into the right-hand side of midfield. I mean, I don't think there's any questions here again. I think this part of the team chooses itself. Jared Bowen?
Yep.
Excellent. Now, should we just put him up top? Should we just put Antonio all the way up there?
Yeah, put him up there.
Now, news out of the club today again was the fact that 3 of the young players didn't make the squad. Ashby, Alessi and Okaflex didn't make the under-23 squad, which makes me think that they may be in the squad tomorrow. I think people are obviously getting excited about what Okaflex can offer, but we know he's not going to start. But you never know, however the results are going, where you see something like a younger player come on the park near the end. That could happen, but we're not too sure. Now, last time out, I had said that Benny wasn't going to start, but he did. So I'm going to bring the 3 players that, in my opinion, are up for question for the last 2 places. So that is Benrahma, Fornals, and Lanzini. Let me bring him out here. Do you agree that the last two positions come from these 3 players?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I personally can't see what Lanzini has done wrong, mate, at all to even warrant being rested. I actually think he is playing really well. And I think people think he went a bit missing against Burnley, but I disagreed. I actually thought he was quite influential in the team moving forward, finding space, dropping his shoulder and creating opportunities. And that just really leaves one position and one position only. Benny started the game at the left-hand side, but for me, it's got to be one player and it's got to be Fornals. What do you think?
See, for me, I wasn't going to play Lanzini.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's nothing against Lanzini at all, actually. It's just the legs. I was purely going to go on the fact that, like, it's rotation, isn't it? And for a guy that's been out for so long, has played so little football, he's been a bit part player for a long time. I just don't know if he's going to have the legs to do it again against a very fluid attacking Arsenal. This isn't a Burnley game where he's going to be able to sit at number 10 and not do anything going back.
So talk to me
try to dictate going forward.
If you're saying removing Lanzini from this position, then what you're really in theory saying is you're putting Benny in there and Fornals on the left. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I just can't see how Benny starts this game tomorrow because he grew into the game against Burnley, but his final third was awful, in my opinion. It was really bad.
It's not. Again, I said it's not anything against Lanzini's performance. It's purely rotation and freshness. Like I don't think Lanzini can do it. I think he's played 3 or 4 games in a row now.
Yeah.
And for the period of time he's not played, and for the work he's going to have to put in away at Arsenal, I don't think you'll get as much out of Lanzini as you would maybe out of Benrahma or Fornals.
Freno pacing.
Like I would, even if Lanzini. Problem is, if Lanzini starts, then I would say Benny's on the bench. I don't think the left hand side's up for grabs. I think Fornals will come in on left hand side. Yeah. I think it's just who you want to start in the number 10.
So really, what you're saying is it's either between Lanzini or Benrahma. But this is where
because
I think
the work ethic you're going to need defensively. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we may see though is the ability
they're going to share the workload between them.
Share this game, and it's just about what would you prefer? Would you prefer Lanzini to come on as the sub and be impactful, or would you prefer Benrahma to come on as the sub and be impactful? And I think, in hindsight, I think I want Lanzini to start, but I think the most impactful player coming off the bench would be Lanzini more than Benrahma.
Yeah.
So I'd probably agree with you on that.
Oh, that's Slative.
Yeah, you did. It's harsh. I don't like to see that.
And again, I would say, if I was Moyes, I'd say to Lanzini, it's nothing to do with your performance.
Yeah.
Like at the moment, unless Benrahma has an amazing game against Arsenal tomorrow, you will be back in the starting lineup at Norwich. You're probably going to come off the bench tomorrow and get 20, 30 minutes. But the workload, the energy I need, I'm giving you a rest because we've got a big run of games coming up.
Yeah.
We've still got, what are we on today? The 14th of December, and we've still got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games?
Yeah.
Is it 5 or 6 games left in a month? And it's only about 2 weeks left.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So we're basically playing every 3 days for the rest of the month. So I would say to Manu, don't worry, don't knock your confidence. It's nothing about your performance. But equally, I'd say that to the other two, if any of the others got dropped.
Yeah.
Because we are now literally hitting what is rotation season. Like, you're going to see it over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Everyone's going to be doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Especially now with the fact that some games in the Premier League are actually getting cancelled due to COVID, that it's going to have such a lasting impact on teams as well. So I'm going to bring up the two starting 11.
It's going to get even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team that I initially thought we would put out, which would have Fabianski in goal, Creswell and Soufal at the full-backs, Dawson and Diop centrally in defence, Souček and Rice protecting, Fornals on the left, Lanzini number 10, Bowen on the right, Antonio up front. But Matt has stated that due to the legs, we think that Benrahma may go in the hole there in the number 10 role.
You know what? I'll throw a curveball at you.
You what?
Vlasic.
Nah.
Apparently he played, again, I haven't seen the game, so I can't. Apparently he played well against Burnley when he came off the bench.
He played all right.
So if you're looking at options off the bench, are you looking at Vlasic as well?
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the starting 11, mate. We're talking about the starting 11. Let me jump into the comments. Controversial here, but I would drop Antonio and Benrahma. My front four would be Fornals, Lanzini, Vlasic, and Bowen. Benny and Antonio are awful right now. Can't have players thinking they always play. The thing, though, Irish Tommy, is I think there's an element of truth in that, but I don't think Moyes sees the Antonio thing. However, I do see what Moyes is saying about Antonio, because I do think his all-round play is having a positive effect on, well, not positive effect on the team. I think he's starting to click. So, yeah, we'll see. Absolutely. So many comments. I'm trying to find where that one was. David M is saying 5-3-2, Fab, Dawson, Diop, Creswell, Soufal, Masuaku, Rice, Souček, Lanzini, Antonio, Bowen. I mean, 5 at the back is an option, mate. It is an option.
You can't. That's just being no disrespect to Arsenal, but what I've seen of them this season, that's far too respectful to Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Pete Gads,
they went to Old Trafford and gave Man United a 1-0 lead and still lost 3-2.
Yeah. Pete Gads is saying, I think Lanzini will come on as a sub back to Fornals, Benny and Bowen. I think it's going to be 4-2 to West Ham. We'll come on to that in a second. Martin Stefanik is saying Fornals in for Benny. Oh my word, how do you get onto this? WHU58, I agree. I would bring on Antonio sometime in the second half as impact player. Same here. Antonio needs to rest first half, I'd say, and maybe bring him on in the second half. Lanzini or Vlasic either in before Benrahma. Garino, good to see you, mate. How do we do this? So many. Irish Tommy, sorry boys, but it's crazy to mention informed player so you can play an out of form player. I mean, that's young Matt that's convincing me. I think I get the concept behind it. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. That's why I thought let's put up the two teams here. This is
one, and it's only one. So it's only one player difference.
Yeah, but what I think, I think the thing is, for me, when I look at these two players, I think there's two players that can share a position, and if they are going to be one or the other, then I think we're going to see the other coming on, no matter who starts the game. And I think at that point, then it's about making the decision who's going to make the most impact coming off the bench, and who would make the most impact starting the game. So I suppose that's what makes it interesting here. Trevor Gorman is saying Masuaku, Fornals and Bowen. Fred is saying this is a Benny type of game. Burnley wasn't. Greeno saying Man City are 7-0 up against Leeds.
7-0.
Antonio has 1 goal in his last 12 games. His job is to score goals, and he's not doing that. I know, but
it's not,
Moyes
is it? I mean, as stupid as I'm about to sound, and that will make him like a right idiot because he's a centre forward. His job isn't to score goals. No. His job is to make a nuisance of himself so the players around him score goals.
Yeah.
Like Moyes, he got 7 goals this season so far.
Yep.
About that, Antonio?
Yeah, I think it is. Let me just get that up for you now. Antonio, where are we? 6 goals. 6 goals and 4 assists.
So he's had an output of 10 goals in how many games? 16. How many games has he played?
16.
So he still contributes over a goal a game.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, over a goal every other game.
Yeah.
He's contributed 10 goals in 16 games. Yeah. And if he doubles that between now and the end of the season and he gets 12 to 15 goals and 5 to 10 assists, Moyes will be happy with him.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the only thing you say is that we are missing an actual striker.
Well, the thing is,
like an out and out
a striker on the park, an out and out striker on the park against Burnley, you know, at least one of those chances would have been converted and we'd have walked away with the 3 points. Right. I'm going to ask you in the chat to give me your predictions for tomorrow's game. So before we do that, I'm going to do the comparison between the two teams. West Ham have played 16 to Arsenal 16. Arsenal have won 8 to West Ham have won 8 also. Arsenal have lost 6 games. West Ham have lost 4. Arsenal have scored 21 goals. West Ham have scored 28. Arsenal have conceded 22. West Ham have conceded 19. And Arsenal have got 7 clean sheets to West Ham's 4. Our top goal scorer, as Matt has said, is Antonio with 6 goals and 4 assists. And Arsenal's top goal scorer this season is Emile Smith-Rowe with 5. And he's got 2 assists to add to it. Tomorrow evening, join us for the Matchday Live. Kickoff is 8 o'clock. We'll try and come on a bit before 7 o'clock. Matt, you around for the Matchday Live tomorrow?
Yep. I'll be around, mate.
Excellent. So make sure you do join us for the Matchday Live. We'll have exclusive team news. We'll hopefully be going live to the stadium if we've got a couple of fans in there, which I believe we do. So make sure you do come and join us. I think we've smashed through before I come on to the predictions. Let me just double check and make sure we are still smashing the subscriber count here. I think we're already over 10,100. We're on the march to 11,000 already. So I'm going to keep asking you, if you are new around here, please make sure you do hit the subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up. And of course, leave a comment as well. Yeah, we're on 10,126. So we're already on the race to 11,000 subscribers. That would be cool if we can get that sooner rather than later. Matt, predictions tomorrow, Arsenal. What's your thoughts?
I'm going to go 3-2.
Please. What?
3-2.
3-2. My words. A big 3-2.
Goals galore.
Goals galore, mate.
Dominate the set pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham. 3-1.
Let's see. 3-1.
Let's go and see what everyone's saying. I'm not going to say it's going to be comfortable. I'm just going to say it's 3-1. Paul Evans, Antonio is still a beast. Duzzy O'Dare saying 1 each. David Knight saying sorry, 2-0 Arsenal. Dabs is saying another close game, 1-0 to us. Antonio to finally score. Henry Layton is saying 3-1 West Ham. Dennis is saying 2-1 West Ham. WHU58 said I would play Vlasic just to get game time, but to give 1 or 2 established starters a rest and also give Okoflex a game. Neil T is saying 2-1 win. Could be a tight one. It could be. Freno P, 3-1 because we are massive good man. And he'll be, with Antonio's defensive abilities, plus he'd had 6 league goals. I'd play him from the start, 1-0 Antonio. Garino, 1-0 Arsenal. I'm playing Foshizi's role. Excellent. I know, and we need to see where Fo is, man. Hope you're okay, Fo. If you are watching and you're not commenting, but please say, hope you are okay. Bernie, all London derbies are 50-50 games in my view. I think it's a 1-1 draw if we're lucky. Crosshammer goes for a Desmond. I'm shocked I've not had to remove Matt from tonight's show. Spencer Burrows, 2-1 West Ham. Bowen and Lanzini to score. Howard Ailes saying 3-2. Bowen writes Suchek winner. Fred is saying 2-1 West Ham. David M is saying Moyes cannot continue to leave out Fornals and Benrahma while out of form. Antonio continues to play. WH258, I'm very confident we'll win 2-1 to West Ham. Jeff Hathaway, my boys 3-1. The Beast will fire back with a goal. Deck for 1 and Bowen. P-Gads, West Ham 4-2. Outmuscle them on set pieces and expose their weak midfield in the counter. James Bong, 2-3 West Ham. Antonio Brayson, Lanzini, Derby, Gem. Paul Evans, 2-1 West Ham. My man, Anton. Absolutely, mate. Helen Ludders, I'd love so much for a win tomorrow. So would we all. Big thumbs up. Looking hell, Matt, you're not wearing your tutu. Antonio will come good tomorrow, touch wood. Irish Tommy, we're not in great form and have no luck against Arsenal, so I'm sadly going to know Arsenal. Tommy, cheer up, mate. Cheer up, son.
Christmas spirit, mate. Where's the Christmas spirit?
What are you talking about, Matt? 1-0 West Ham, Rice Screamer. That would be fantastic. David M, 2-1 West Ham. Come on, you Irons. 2-0 West Ham from Ymir. Irish Tommy, having Antonio on the pitch will cost us again tomorrow. Let's hope it doesn't. Paul Evans saying Ramsdale's top keeper. Need to bury our chances. So there you go. There's all of our predictions for the game tomorrow. I'm going to... hold on a minute. More coming in. 3-2 West Ham. Mandy J saying sin bin Irish Tommy. Tommy, if you were on, you'd be in a sin bin for 2 minutes, mate. You would be, but you're allowed to do it. Peaches in the house saying, yes, Anton, I'm saying that too, my G. 3-1 all day long. Cheers, Peachy. Hope you're safe, mate. That's the end of our preview show. We've done it under an hour, mate. We've done it under 1 hour. Before we go, like I said, subscribe to the channel, hit the comment, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to become a member, become a channel member, you're more than welcome to do that. The links are in the YouTube page somewhere. Join us tomorrow. There will be a daily because young Russ is away in Lapland, so there will be a daily kicking about at some point tomorrow. We'll be on live for the Matchday Live as well. But before we do go, Mr. Matt Stattle, Matt Flack, who's the one Arsenal player you fear the most for tomorrow?
If he starts, Martinelli. I think he's really like their informed guy at the moment.
Yeah.
And he's direct, he's pacey, he's dynamic.
Yeah.
And he looks good form. So if he starts him.
And the one player they should fear tomorrow?
You know what? The form he's on at the moment, I'll go Declan Rice.
Deckers. Yeah, I think there's an element. I agree with you, Martinelli. Absolutely, I think he will be a fear. But I'm going to go with the man that a lot of people are digging into right now, and it's Antonio. I think he's a player you need to fear. Loves a London derby, and he needs to get a game to bounce back and show people what he is capable of doing. And last but not least, of course, if you have been around with us, this is a few times we've mentioned it tonight. Isla Caton, they're raising as much money as they possibly can. I mean, I'm watching the live counter just now, and the money's going up, which is really good. Unfortunately, she got really, really rubbish news today, and we're hoping to give her as much of special memories as we possibly can. So please click that link and give as much as you possibly can, whether it be £1, £2, 50p, whatever you can afford. Just do it. It will really help. Well, it won't help them out, but it will give them some special memories as much as you can. So please do that. Please do it. Cheers, lads. Thank you, Fred, for joining us. Irish Tommy, what you're saying, I'll remind you all of this tomorrow night if you're all in here complaining about our performance, how bad Antonio was. Hopefully you'll all be giving me pelters because we won. Yes, fingers crossed, we are giving you pelters, mate. I will take a picture of that. Anyway, stay safe, look after yourself, and come on, you Irons. Take it easy.